What is up, everybody? How is it going? Austin prechtelevate Performance, coming at you live. Happy Wednesday. It's Winning Wednesday. As you were tuning in, let me know how your day is going. Let me know a win in the chat. Let me know something that you're proud of. Let me know something positive that happened to you today or this week. Because that's what we do here. We celebrate wins on Wednesdays. That's what we do in our private group every single week because it's important to pay attention to the good shit going on in your life because that's going to bring more good shit into your life. So let's jump into this topic. And so today's topic is something that really resonated with me that I heard yesterday. And it was that your strongest thought is the direction that your life's going to go in. Your strongest thought is what is going to, eventually come to fruition in your life. And what do I mean by that, right? So, oftentimes, and I'm going to apply it to your guys' fitness journey because this is super important. And if you guys don't realize this yet, and if you haven't been following me for very long, our bodies, right? Our bodies, our goals, what we want in life, getting our workouts in, getting our nutrition done. It's a lot of times easier said than done, right? It's not just like, hey, I just got to go work. It is just, hey, I got to go work out and I got to be in like a caloric deficit or I got to be eating to my, goals. But the mind plays a big role in all this shit, right? 99% of the time, a lot of people have an idea of what they need to do, right? They just might not know how to act on it, or they know what they need to do and then they don't do it anyways because their mindset's fucked up. Whether that be mental health or they're just kind of in like a rough patch, whatever it may be. The mind body connection is a huge thing, and I'm not saying like hippie woo woo kind of stuff, but just like if you think about it, your thoughts and what you think about and where your headspace is at dictates what you choose to do on a daily basis, right? Like if I'm sad or if I'm in a bad place or somebody, or if you're like in a bad place or something like that, or you're in a bad mood, you're probably going to be more likely to make poor decisions, based on your goals. You're going to, do something to try and kind of like blunt that pain. You're going to try to do something to try and like escape, like escapism and shit like that, rather than doing the stuff that you know that you need to do to reach your goals. So the mind plays a big role in all of our fitness journeys, right? The mind wills what the body will do what the mind wills it to do, right? Like if your mind isn't in it and your mind's not in a good and healthy place, it's going to be hard to get your body to a healthy place, right? So does that make sense? So how do we apply that kind of like concept to this idea that our strongest thought is the direction our journey is going to go in, right? It's almost like whatever your strongest thought is, uh, essentially becomes priority in your life, right? Your strongest thought is going to impact what's going on in your day to day, right? Is your strongest thought, I'm going to be successful with my journey, or I'm going to be successful, I'm going to be strong, I'm going to be fit, I'm going to be healthy, I'm going to track my food, I'm going to do whatever, it takes to reach my goals, right? Is that your strongest thought? And that's what your priority is. Or right now, is your strongest thought a negative thought? Is it, I don't think I can do this? Is it, I, always screw things up, I always overeat, or I always binge eat, I always get stressed out and then everything falls apart, or I always quit, or I always fail, or whatever it may be. Like, you see where I'm getting here? Like, if that's your strongest thought, guess what? That's probably the direction that your journey is going to go towards, right? If you tell yourself all the time, I'm always fucking shit up, or I'm always late, or I'm always, struggling to lose weight, or I'm always skipping my workouts, or I'm always, not getting enough protein. And if you keep telling yourself that, and if you keep thinking that shit on a daily basis, right, over and over and over again, because a lot of times we get trapped in these kind of like thought loops where, um, you know, uh, one bad event or one negative thought can kind of trigger that to be repeated in our heads, and we repeat it to ourselves. We tell ourselves that every time we look in the fucking mirror, every time we we're taking a picture of ourselves, every time we're just sitting chilling with our thoughts. A lot of times we have negative thoughts, and if you're one of those people, because I definitely used to be one of those people, right? I definitely used to be one of those people, and from time to time it pops up, and it may come in a little bit stronger than it normally does for me. But for the most part, I've got a really I've got a pretty good grasp on my thoughts. I've got a pretty good grasp on what my strongest thought is in life, and you can have more than one strong thought or a group of kind of like thoughts. But if the majority of your thoughts and your strongest thoughts are I'm a failure, I'm a screw up, I'm always going to be overweight, I'm always going to struggle with this, more often than not you're going to, because you're going to be making a lot of decisions based off of those underlying thoughts that you have for yourself. You're going to be making a lot of decisions in that like messed up, like dark headspace, and it's not going to, end up going well for you. You're going to have a hard time reaching your goals, right? But if your strongest thoughts are, I'm freaking crushing it, right? I'm going to reach my goals. I believe in myself. I know I can do this. I know I'm going to get my workout in. I know that I'm going to be on top of my nutrition. I know I'm going to reach the finish line, or I know I'm going to hit that milestone. If those are your, strongest thoughts, right? Or I'm going to be a badass, or I'm a great mom, or I'm a great dad, or, I am productive. I am good with my time management. Whatever it may be for you, right? That you're wanting to achieve or whatever it is for your goal, if you can make that shift and start to work on making those your strongest thoughts, you're going to start to make progress towards your goals way fucking faster than you ever would have otherwise if your strongest thoughts were negative, right? And there's a concept behind it. I've talked about this with my clients before in the past, but there's this RAS system. Basically, it's how our brains try to make life easier for us by showing us what we want to see more of. And so, if we notice certain things in life, right? If you've ever had like a bad day, and that bad day was just like, damn, there's so many bad things happening to me today because you're just paying attention to all this negative shit. You're gonna see more negative shit. But if you pay attention to more positive shit and you have more positive thoughts and things like that, you're going to start to have more positive shit happen to you because you're making decisions, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, towards those goals, right? What are some actionable items though for you to like actually improve what your strongest thought is, right, and direct it a little bit more? One thing for sure, journaling what you want in life, right? Like journaling that shit, writing positive affirmations that are like, they may not be your thoughts yet, right? But they will be eventually the more you write it out, right? You're just basically like plucking something that you really like or that you want to be, and you're repeating it to yourself until that kind of becomes that background voice or that underlying voice or tone in your life and in your head. So writing affirmations out, writing and journaling and stuff like that. Making essentially like a pro con list for who you are right now in life and who you want to be, right? Maybe or taking it maybe a step further in a sense and saying like, this is who I'm not, or this is who I never want to fucking be again, right? And this is who I want to be, right? Making a list. I did that very recently. I got it right here actually, where I basically made like a list, and let's see, I'll show you guys. So it's like who I don't want to be versus who I do want to be. So I made this shit. I like listed this shit out for myself. And for me, like who I don't want to be, and I'll just share a little bit with you guys to kind of help give you kind of an idea of I'm reading this every fucking morning for myself. I'm reading this. I'm looking at this shit every fucking morning for myself to remind me of who the fuck I want to be, who I am, and who the fuck I want to be and step into. And for you or for me, who I don't want to be is scared. I don't want to be stagnant. I don't want to be fearful. I don't want to be quiet. I don't want to be spineless. I don't want to be a quitter. I don't want to be lazy, dependent, sad, depressed, complainer, whiny, weak, unhappy, disloyal, blames others. I don't want to be afraid to fail. I don't want to be egotistical. I don't want to be entitled, right? I don't want to be dishonest. I don't want to be angry, and I don't want to be reactive, right? But what do I want to be, right? Who do I want to be? I want to be loyal. I want to be transparent. I want to be courageous. I want to be a leader. I want to be spontaneous and playful. I want to be loud and outgoing. I want to stand my ground and have boundaries that I enforce. I want to be a winner. I want to be consistent. I want to be integral. I want to be independent. I want to show up no matter what. Tenacious, tenacity, warm and loving. Everything is in my control and is my fault. Strong, unbreakable, happy, passionate, disciplined, not reactive, supportive, no ego, drops the ego, embraces failure as an opportunity to learn, runs his own race, world owes him nothing, grateful, surrounds himself with other strong people that are in alignment, and sees his self worth, right? I didn't really plan on reading through all that shit, but just to kind of give you an idea, right, of hair, of kind of like the process of what I've done in the past and what I've done recently, and I kind of review that shit and I review it and I refine it because we change over time with what we want and what's a priority to us. But my strongest thoughts about who I want to become, the more I think about that shit and the more that I kind of absorb it through these various methods of either affirmations or journaling it or sticky notes around your house or whatever it may be for you, start to do that shit. All right. and your strongest thoughts will start to shift. Your strongest thoughts will start to shift away from that, maybe that negative headspace, that contractive, like smothering headspace that doesn't allow you room to grow, and start to shift more towards an expansive one where you're more open to things, you're more open to get uncomfortable, you're more open for opportunity whenever to create it, right? So that's the gist of it. But just remember that our thoughts have power. Our thoughts are important, right? Because our thoughts dictate what our physical actions are, right? And at the end of the day, whatever your strongest thought is, whether it's I want to be a good mom, or I want to be a strong dad, or I want to be a strong mom, or I want to be, I want to be that next level version of myself, right? You need to start thinking about those things. You have to start to shift your strongest thought from, I'm incapable, or I can't do this shit, or I always fail, to, I believe in myself. I know I can do this. I just have to be consistent. I am consistent. I am strong. I am powerful. I'm on my way. I'm a student. I'm learning. Like things like that can be very, very powerful, and start to shift your perspective and start to shift your life in the right direction, and build that momentum. So cool. That's really that's all I really had for you guys today. I hope you got value from this. I hope that this was helpful. Let me know your number one takeaway down below, right? And let me know, if you want to, call yourself out, or whether that's a productive way, or in a way to share your negative, like, strongest thought, or your positive strongest thought right now. But maybe to call yourself out, and claim that, right? And claim that, and then maybe shift it. Feel free to share that in the comments and put it in there and be like, my strongest thought right now is this. And if it's a positive thing, awesome. But if it's a negative thing, I want you to say, my strongest thought is this right now, but I commit to making it this, going forward. So cool. That's all I got for you guys today. Hope you got value from this. Feel free to give this video a like, share it, tag somebody in the comments who might need to hear this today. But yeah, what's your strongest thought? And I'll leave you guys on that. Happy Wednesday. And I'll talk to you all later. Have a good one.